We're going to talk again about Milton's Paradise Lost, and what we're going to talk about is the narrative voice in Book 9 of Milton's Paradise Lost. Milton has been telling his story, and when we reach Book 9, Milton breaks from the story and speaks to us as the writer. He says this, he opens Book 9 by saying, "No more of talk where God or angel guest with man, as with his friend, familiar used to sit indulgent, and with him partake rural repast, permitting him the while venal discourse unblamed. I now must change these notes to tragic." So he says, we're not going to talk about the story, we're not going to talk about God or angels walking with man, we're now going to talk about the tragedy of this story. But he does say this about the tragedy, and we find this in lines 5 and 6. I'm sorry, not 5 and 6, line 25. He says, even though this is a tragic story, he says that this is a heroic song. He says this is a subject for heroic song. Also in about line 15, he says this isn't less but more heroic. So he's saying that this is a story of heroism, and he's going to convey this to us. So he says it's tragic. He also in this section invokes the muse, and that is on line 21. He says, of my celestial patroness. The celestial patroness is his muse, who brings him these dreams, brings him these ideas in his dreams. He also mentions, as he says, and this is line 26, he says that he thought a long time about this subject before he put it to paper. He says, and this is actually beginning in line 25, he says, since first this subject for heroic song pleased me long, choosing and beginning late. So he says that it took him a while to really determine to put this story to paper, and he began this story later in his life. He didn't start it when maybe he thought he should have, but he waited for a while to start it. So he addresses the audience, and then he begins again, and he puts us back in the garden, and in the next videos we're going to pick up on the temptation of Eve, and then Eve and Adam's argument.